This was a huge win for the Dodgers, but they're hoping it wasn't a costly one.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter, or whatever it's called now. And on Instagram, I'm your pal Sully, but it's Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers will get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Game 2 of the World Series is in the books. I'm recording this very late on Saturday night. And it's funny, there's a lot of things to talk about in the game itself, but the big news seems to be the moment that Shohei Ohtani, who has not had a particularly memorable World Series so far, he's been okay, but the fact of the matter is he attempted to steal a base and left the game with an injury. Now, Ohtani right now is batting 125 in the World Series. His OPS is 472. That's not great. Obviously, he has not been the impact player that the Dodgers are hoping would be. His playoff OPS is 863 with an average of 260. He had a very productive National League Championship Series where he slashed 364, on base 548, slugging 636, and hit a pair of home runs. Well, he was trying to get something done in Game 2, as the Yankees were down 4-1, but everyone knows that the Yankees could go on a flurry of runs. So he got a base via the walk, and he tried to steal second base and was promptly thrown out. And that was in I believe that was in the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, he was removed. Now, of course, whenever I watch someone get injured, no matter what sport it is, I just absolutely, my heart goes right in my throat. And I start thinking, oh my God, his career is over. That always, no matter what it is. Now, I am recording this right now. It is 10:54 in the PM in Los Angeles. I have, by the time you're hearing this, you'll probably have more information than I do. But according to the MLB.com article written by Juan Toribio, it says that Dave Roberts reported that Shohei Ohtani left Saturday's game in the 7th inning with a left shoulder subluxation. That is a partial dislocation. He'll go in an MRI today before taking the trip to Yankee Stadium. And Roberts did not say at the end of the game whether or not this will mean Ohtani will miss any time. So let's take a good, long, hard look what would happen to Los Angeles if Shohei Ohtani misses Game 3 of the World Series. I don't like to think he will. I think that he'll watch. He'll probably, because I didn't think that that Freeman was going to play, and he wound up becoming the hero of heroes. And right now is sitting in the leader in the clubhouse to be the World Series MVP after he hit yet another home run today. Although Tommy Edman, lest we forget, is currently in the World Series batting 500 with a 500 on base percentage, a 1.125 slugging, and an OPS of 1.625. He has a homer and a pair of doubles. Freddie Freeman has not hit a single yet. He's hit a triple and 2 homers and driven in 5. But Ohtani has not been really much of a factor. He's got on a couple times. He scored a run, but he also popped up in that critical moment in the 10th inning on the game one thriller. And the Dodgers have, at least in theory, the kind of bats that if Ohtani misses a game, Muncy has gotten on base like crazy this entire postseason. Kiki Hernandez, who and it hasn't played great so far, but we know he's a big postseason performer. You can mix and match if it's a game or maybe even two, and find yourself in a position for the Dodgers to win at least one game in New York. I don't doubt that for a second. But that's purely theory. That's stratomatic. That's playing this as we're playing Accolade Hardball or some other video game. Ohtani at the top of the lineup sets everything up. Ohtani at the top of the lineup is the reason why your number 9 hitter is seeing big fat pitches. Ohtani at the top of the lineup is there to set things up for how you pitch to Betts, how you pitch to Freeman when you get someone like him in the lineup. That is a gigantic Jenga piece to remove, even for a game or so. But would it behoove the Dodgers if there is any question about his left shoulder? Remember, this is a rehab season for Shohei Ohtani. He's not pitching this year. This is the year he's supposed to get some rest and actually became a 50-50 man and will pick up yet another MVP along the way. He's not played great. He's not been the Ohtani. This is not the Ohtani you've been looking for. And would it behoove the Dodgers, just out of a sense of, for the lack of a better word, precaution, to say, if there's any question, to say, Shohei, you're going to take game 3. We're going to make sure you're 100%. This is the luxury you have with a 2-0 series lead. Now, of course, the Dodgers are pitching Walker Buehler in game 3. Buehler has been not good. And then they're going a bullpen game for game 4. And the bullpen games can go great. They have gone great for the Dodgers this postseason. We've all seen them go wonderfully, but they could also go south for the winter. If it's a series of dominoes that you're setting up. If they all fall correctly, like they did in game 4 against the San Diego Padres, you look like a genius. If they don't, then you have to have a game like the one I was at, game 6 of the National League Championship Series, where not everything went the Dodgers' way with the bullpen game. But the thing is they slugged the snot out of the ball, and they were able to overcome the sluggish job by the bullpen with a lot of big hits. But what kind of big hits are you going to get if you remove Shohei Ohtani from the lineup, even in one game? It's an interesting thing. This is a luxury, 2-0, but 2-0 could come 2-2 in an awful hurry. Clark Schmidt versus Walker Buehler. Nobody is saying Clark Schmidt is the reincarnation of Catfish Hunter, Walter Johnson, or Jack Morris. As we celebrate, by the way, on this date in 1991 was the Jack Morris 10-inning shutout, the end of the single greatest World Series I've ever seen in my life. But right now, Schmidt's a better choice than Buehler. Buehler could potentially do well, and he could reach back and all of a sudden stun us all. But right now, I would be leaning on the Yankees in games 3 and in game 4 with Heel pitching against the bullpen. You remove Ohtani, suddenly it really becomes a game for the Yankees. However, if someone picks up the ball and basically fills in for any potential lost Ohtani bats, that could go a long way of absolutely sinking the New York Yankees. Tommy Edman, lest we forget, was the NLCS most valuable player. And it was Max Muncy who was setting all the records for getting on base. So is it possible to just say out of precaution, Shohei, you're going to sit in the whirlpool for game 3, or have the threat of him completely Kirk Gibsoning it off the bench. The Dodgers don't have the pitching edge in game 3. And you remove Ohtani, they may not have the batting edge. And we're going to get a little bit over some of the stuff in the course of what happened in game 2. But Ohtani is an important piece, clearly. And so what are they going to do, and how are they going to handle it? For the sake of baseball, let's hope that the MRI comes clear. He has a day off on Sunday, and he wakes up feeling just fine. But just in case, the Dodgers might be able to absorb it for a game. And if they don't, this is why you have a 2-game lead. Hey, get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 back in bonus bets. Say that 3 times fast if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So if you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, let's just go over a little bit the game that happened on Saturday evening. It's funny. The Yankees had Garrett Cole start the 7th and then yanked him after 1 batter. Similar thing for Yamamoto. But I'm not going to scream bloody murder at the Dodgers for doing that. I am thrilled that they let Yamamoto pitch into the 7th. And I personally would have let him face the next batter or so. Yamamoto was absolutely dominating the Yankees right through those 6 innings, and he got a pop fly out of Giancarlo Stanton and was going to face Chisholm and Rizzo. They took him out for Banda. Now, here's one reason why I'm not going to scream bloody murder, even though I personally would have let Yamamoto try to finish the 7th inning, try to squeeze a couple more outs out of them. If they got 7 innings out of them, boom, you wouldn't have to use Banda. But the fact of the matter is, the way that Yamamoto has pitched and the way that he's come off of injury, anything after the 5th inning would have seemed like a glorious bonus. And the fact that he pitched into the 7th inning, I think, exceeded almost everyone's ideals. And the fact that you were able to get him out of the game, when he dominated the Yankees, he allowed the one hit. The one hit he allowed was the Soto homer. He walked 2 other batters, and that was it. And you took a look at what was coming up, a bunch of left-handed batters. Banda would be good for that, and it turned out that they just burned through 1 reliever through 7. And so they were able to go to Kopech in 8th inning. He pitched great. And the fact that Treinen didn't have it, and he didn't look very strong. They still had Vesia to go to. They hadn't burned through all their relievers. And with Phillips not available, they have to handle some things. So the fact that Yamamoto pitched into the 7th, that wasn't in the cards. Cole doesn't have the injury issues that Yamamoto had this season. So the idea of taking him out in the 7th was insane. Again, I would love to have seen Yamamoto pitch until he let up a base runner in the 7th inning. And then after 7, you put him on ice. But another reason why you don't scream bloody murder is it wound up working. Banda got the last 2 outs. And Vesia got the final out, with Trevino being a little overly aggressive. Things fell in the right way. And I mentioned the fact that Ohtani has had a pretty sluggish World Series, but Betts has taken up the mantle for that. He got 2 hits. Teoscar Hernandez went 2 for 4 with a home run, put them back on the board. Freeman homered. Tommy Edman homered. And things look pretty snappy for them. But here's another thing you got to notice. And this is a difference, I think, between the way that Dave Roberts is managing this series and the way that Aaron Boone is managing this series. Judge has stunk this World Series. I'm not saying Judge stinks, and there have been points during this season where I believe Aaron Judge is the American League most valuable player, but he has gone through intense moments of slumps here or there. Anyone follows the Yankees knows that. And he's just picking one moment of his slumpage to be in the World Series. He's 1 for 9, a single, has not scored a run, has not driven in a run, has no extra base hits, has no walks. His OPS is .222. You'd expect that from a pitcher. And the fact that he is where he is in the lineup and has been just a black hole of just pure suckage so far, granted only a couple of games, but they've been brutal. Now, Stanton, who drove in a run in the Yankees' ninth inning rally, which cut it from 4-1 to 4-2 and ultimately got the bases loaded before Trevino popped up. Stanton's been on fire. And there's no movement in that lineup. No movement to put Giancarlo Stanton in third and Judge at fourth to try to get Giancarlo Stanton another swing. Did you notice what the Dodgers did? The Dodgers, the day after Freddie Freeman put himself into Dodger lore and Kirk Gibson, Gibby meet Freddie and all this other stuff, they dropped him. They dropped him from third to fourth. There are no egos here. Teoscar Hernandez need to be in the 3-hole. And it worked out as both of them homered today. They read the tea leaves. They didn't care about anyone's ego. Freeman went down a spot. Teoscar came up a spot, and it worked out. Aaron Judge is locked into that number 3 hole. And 2 games in, he has been an absolute black hole. But it's more than 2 games in. Because you take a look at Judge this entire postseason. He's having a slump. Wonderful player, putting together a potential Hall of Fame career. He batted 154 with no homers and no runs batted in and 1 extra base hit against Kansas City. Against Cleveland, he hit the 2 home runs, including the dramatic game-tying one, but he still batted 167. His OPS was still a not great 7.61. And so this is an 11-game sample size. 11-game sample size where he's driven in 6 runs, all of them against Cleveland, has hit 2 homers, all of them against Cleveland, has 3 extra base hits, 1 against Kansas City, 2 against Cleveland. He has not been doing it. And the Yankees are not being flexible in that lineup. And having Judge swinging and looking like he is off kilter, drop him down. I mean, conceivably, you could move him up a spot and have Juan Soto protecting him. Have Judge bat in the number 2 hole. But I wouldn't want to take that bat away from Soto at this point. But I would absolutely push Stanton up a spot. But they're not doing that. Now, today, Rodon was lifted in the 4th inning. The one weird thing is that it was with 1 out and nobody on. I've always found it strange when you remove someone when there's an out and nobody on. That was the thing about Yamamoto. I would have let him pitch till he let up a base runner. And Rodon got an out in the 4th, and then you lift him. Cousins wasn't great. Tim Hill was. Tim Hill got 4 outs. Clay Holmes got 4 outs. Mark Leiter. The Yankee bullpen did their job. The Yankee bullpen combined for 4 2/3 innings, 2 hits, both of them off of Jake Cousins, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. You can't ask for more than that from the bullpen. Basically shut down the Dodger attack after the 3rd. They didn't score a run after the 3rd inning. And it allowed the Yankees a chance to come back. But you can't come back if Aaron Judge is going to do piddly-poo. And they only got to trying it. You take a look at, Soto, 2 for 4. He had a terrific game. Chisholm got a hit and kept the ball rolling in the 9th inning. Rizzo got hit by a pitch. In fact, I think Rizzo got hit by 2 pitches today, if I'm not mistaken. Rizzo was hit by Banda and Trinan. Rizzo walked. He got on base 3 times. He walked and got hit by a pitch twice. Now, Volpe didn't do great, and Wells did not do great. Verdugo did not do great. Trevino popped up. And so Anthony Rizzo got on base 3 times, and Volpe, Wells, Trevino, and Verdugo combined for 0 hits. That could be part of the thing that happened too. So, the Yankees, they showed some heart waking up in the 9th inning, but they got doubled up again. They got doubled up in game 1, 6-3, got doubled up in this one, 4-2. And they are now looking at a situation where they obviously have to win at least 2 games at home, because if they go, if they only win 1 game at home, obviously the series is over. But there's more to that. They had some big hits, showed some clutch moments in these first 2 games, and walked away with piddly poo. And now they're going back to New York. Now, can you come back from a series with a heartbreaking beginning? It's possible, but recent history shows otherwise. Hey, let's hear from PrizePicks. It's the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to us all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. PrizePicks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. And PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users today. And you can get on the action in over 30 states, including Florida, Texas, Georgia, and right here in California. PrizePicks also offers weekly projections that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% or even more value for your lineups. So here's what you got to do. You got to download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Let me repeat that. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB. You get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. I was thinking about this while shaving today. I was thinking about games that began best of 7 series that began with a team having either a 9th inning comeback, a walk-off win in game 1, or an extra inning game in game 1. Something where it was just a thriller in game 1 and absolutely pulling your hair out for the losing team, where you're like, we had him. We could have won that. And to start the series like that. Now, the last 3 World Series have been like that. And it's happened a bunch of times. But the number of times that the team that loses that heartbreaking first game, the number of times that they lost the opener and went on to win the series, dusted themselves and went on to win the series, they are few and far between in the era of divisional play, which began in 1969. And we'll see what happens this year between the Dodgers and the Yankees. But since divisional play began in 1969, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 games in a best of 7 series where a team lost the game, like I just said, extra innings, walk-off win, come from behind, everything like that. 18 times. And so far, only 3 times has the losing team gone on to win the series in a best of 7. Best of 5 is different. Teams come back all the time in best of 5s. But in a best of 7, How many times? Well, since the advent of divisional play, 18 times. We don't know what's happening yet with Dodgers Yankees. So in the previous 7, it's 14-3 in favor of the team that wins the game 1. Last year, you had the Rangers coming back, the 9th inning rally with a home run, walk-off homer. 2022 World Series, the Phillies had that wild extra inning victory over the Houston Astros. So the last 3 World Series have had a dynamite game 1. And the Phillies won that game 1 against the Astros in 2022. They are the last team to win a wild game 1 like that and go on to lose the series. Previously, you had to go back to 1992 when the A's and Harold Baines homered off of Jack Morris to win against the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays wound up winning that. In other words, since the era of the wild card, which was first played in 1995, the Astros are the only team to ever overcome a devastating game 1. The only other time in the era of divisional play that a team lost a devastating game 1 and went on to win the series were, drumroll please, the Dodgers. The Dodgers and Oral Hershiser had a lead going into game 1 of the NLCS in 1988, and Jay Howell wound up blowing the lead and the game to the Mets in what looked like a devastating loss to the Mets, to the Dodgers. The Dodgers went on to win that series. So the only ones to do it since the advent of divisional play have been the 88 Dodgers, the 92 Blue Jays, and the 2022 Houston Astros. Now, before divisional play, it happened more frequently. You had the 58 Braves won an extra inning game against the Yankees. The Yankees went on to win that World Series. The Red Sox won an extra inning game in 1946 in game 1 against St. Louis. St. Louis won the World Series. And in back-to-back year, 1923 and 1924, the New York Giants won thrillers in game 1 of the World Series over the Yankees in 23 and the Senators in 24, but the Giants wound up losing both of those series. Every other time, the team that won that dynamic game 1 went on to win game 7. That would be the 39 Yankees, the 49 Yankees, the 54 New York Giants, the 77 Yankees in the World Series over the Dodgers, obviously the Kirk Gibson Dodgers in 88, the Kim Batiste Phillies over the Braves in 93, the Braves over the Reds in 95, the Padres over the Braves in 98, Bernie Williams and the Yankees over the Red Sox in 99, Jose Vizcaíno and the Yankees over the Mets in 2000, the Marlins over the Cubs in 2023, the Tigers over the Yankees in 2012, the Cardinals over the Dodgers in 2013, Kansas City over Baltimore in 2014, Kansas City over the Mets in 2015, and the Braves over the Dodgers in 2021. All those teams won game 1 of a best-of-7 series in a dramatic and in most times a come-from-behind manner. And all of them went on to win their series. History is on the side of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Doesn't mean it's impossible. Just ask the 2022 Astros. And the fact that you may have Ohtani missing a game, you're going to be banking on Buehler and the bullpen. That's rough. In many ways, the Dodgers just need to win one game in New York and force the series back to Los Angeles. And by then, you're almost certain to have Ohtani back in the lineup. Just don't get swept in New York, and the Dodgers are in great shape. Win game 3, and it becomes a formality. Because what team could ever come back from a 0-3 hole? Wouldn't it be wild? I don't want this to happen. But on the 20th anniversary of the 2004 Red Sox, of the 2004 Red Sox, if the 2024 Yankees answer back by coming back from a 3-0 hole, we're going to find out. We're going to find out very soon. Off day on Monday, so I'm not going to have a show until after Game 3 of the World Series, unless there's a massive announcement about Ohtani or another death. Until then, follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever it's called now and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Reviewing Game 2 of the World Series and trying to point out to Yankee fans that it's an uphill battle, but it's not over. Remember, the last 2 times the Dodgers and Yankees met in the World Series, the other team, both of the times, the one team went up 2-0, and the team up 2-0 in both instances lost the series in 78 and 81. What will happen in 24? We will find out. I am yours, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.